Hey guys, welcome back to the continuation of organic chemistry, section B. We were dealing with polymerization, and this is a topic in which we are going to study about natural polymers. Here is the one which is called protein as a part of your syllabus. In the next video, I will try to share the picture of your syllabus copy with you as well, so that you people may have an idea where we are standing and what we have completed in the topic of organic chemistry. So, right now, what about protein? Before moving ahead, I would like to bring your attention towards this basic concept. Many of you have heard the name, the term of amino acids already. It is called amino acids or amino acids. Both of the terms, both of the pronunciations are correct. Amino acids are those acids which have a carbon chain. You may say a carbon chain having carboxylic group on one end and amino group on the other end. You may say that is like this, okay? So it is a carbon chain, for example, and one side has NH2, whereas the other side has C double bond OOH, okay? So that's called as a carboxylic group, okay? So it is now going to repeat itself continuously. What will happen? H from the amino part and OH from the carboxy part are going to combine with each other just like nylon, but in case of nylon it was dicarboxylic and diamine. Here the same carbon chain has both of them simultaneously, so we can say this thing that H will come from the amino part whereas OH will come from the carboxylic part, and they are going to combine with each other to give you carboxylic part and amino part combining with each other to give protein, whereas water will be formed in addition to it. Okay, let's have a practice for this right now. For example, this is one of the carbon chain, all right, and this has C double bond OOH on this side, whereas NH2 on the other side, okay. And we are saying that this is for N times, whereas the other is with the next, we are drawing it with the red color, for example. We can say this thing that it is an other amino acid, and this has also C double bond OOH just like the previous one, okay. So as per our commitment, we will say that this is the OH which will go and this is the H which will go, okay, and they are going to combine with each other, you may say, with the help of this type of bonding. And now what is the next thing? Okay, please don't forget that there is an N over there, okay. So I would like to take this with the blue color again so that many of you will not get confused in this case. And we are saying this thing that in this case, this will be removed as well, whereas this will be removed as well. Now back to this, and we can say this thing that this is a continuation bracket. And along with this, it is a C double bond O. And then there is a new bond between N and H. And this is the thing over there. Is this like this? And this is this again. This is now a carbon chain, and this is now C double bond O, and this is now, you may say, it is N and H again, and this is now a bond, and this is now again C double bond O, and this is the continuation bracket, okay. So now you can see this thing. I am going to spotlight it. This is one of the amino acid, this is the second part of the amino acid, this is now the third part of the amino acid, and this is now the fourth. So four repeating units have been written as we have space, and these were not so big, so we can say this thing, okay. Now the point is this, that this amino acid was one amino acid, for example this, and this amino acid is the second, and this is the third, and this is the fourth, for example, okay. Now we can say about the linkage, the new bond, okay guys, this is the new bond, this is the new bond, this is the new bond, and this will continue to the next one, okay. The new linkage which is forming in all of these cases is called as a peptide linkage. It is called as a peptide linkage. Peptide linkage is linkage is just like amide linkage in case of nylon. But remember this thing, examiner is asking this question frequently: which compound or which polymer is matching with that of nylon, or which natural polymer has a linkage matching with that of nylon, or which of the two polymers are condensational polymers and they have the same type of the linkages. So the answer is this, that in case of a nylon, it is a polyamide, whereas in case of a protein, it is a polypeptide. So please don't forget this thing. Polypeptide means proteins and polyamide means nylon. I would like to write this thing on the next page as well so that you people will not forget. Along with this amino acid combination, along with this protein formation, there is another compound, and that is called water, which is the byproduct of this reaction. We already know. Okay. Now, for example, if we have to write down the repeating unit for this, and obviously you already know this thing, that repeating unit is the one in which the monomers are written for one time. So we can say this thing, that this is this, but in this case, as we have to mention the red one separately, so that you people may not get confused about this, we can say this as this, whereas this is the next one, the next amino acid. So we have to represent both of them separately. Guys, don't forget this thing, that this is the new linkage which is there right now. Okay, so as in the polymer which I have made just here, I have made both of the monomers with the same color, but you know this thing, that this is, for example, this is number one and this is number two. So this is number one, this is number two, this is number one, this is number two. So in the same way, number one, number two, number one, number two, they are going to combine with each other continuously, and always there is a bond between C double bond O of one part with the NH of the next part. So this is the basic concept related to amino acid combination to make a protein. This is the basic concept related to this. So the peptide linkage is making a protein. Okay, I am on the next page right now. For example, sometimes they are making amino acids like this. Sometimes they are making the real amino acids, guys. I would like to bring your attention to this concept. Those students who are taking biology, they have more idea about amino acids and proteins. Why it is so? Because this is part of their syllabus. Okay. Those students who are not taking biology, please don't get upset on this. Please listen the fact that we will teach you about amino acids and proteins in details in your A2 level. Over there's a biochemistry section, and we are going to teach you about that. Let me inform you one thing, that there will be 20 amino acids. They are going to combine with each other in our body in different ways. The different combinations are combining with each other. There are different names of these amino acids as well, and hence as a result of that, different proteins are formed. Okay, so these amino acids are the basic unit for a protein. Okay, basic unit for any different type of a protein. Okay, now the point is this, that protein are basically a bigger unit. You may say protein is a polymer. Okay, so when amino acids are combining with each other, they are making peptide chains. Peptide chains are combining with each other to give you polypeptide chains, and as a result, the large protein molecules are formed. So here in this chemistry syllabus of 5070 and 0620, you should know this thing, that only peptide linkage is part of your syllabus. It might be examiner will use a term of polypeptide, as it is being taught to many of you as a syllabus of biology, but they cannot ask something from you in chemistry syllabus. Okay, so let me inform you one thing, that amino acids are building blocks of proteins. Okay, building blocks of protein, basic unit, you may say, blocks of protein, and this is the simplet unit to make a protein. And then I'm writing polypeptide. If examiner is saying what is a polypeptide, you should know that they are talking about a protein. And then if examiner is talking about a polyamide, then you should have an idea that examiner is talking about a nylon. And one more thing, examiner is asking about polyester, then you should know this thing, that examiner is talking about tyrrolene. Okay, now there is one more thing, that in case of a protein, what is the name of the linkage? It is called as a peptide linkage. Whereas in case of a nylon, what is the name of the linkage? It is called as the amide linkage. Whereas in case of a tyrrolene, it is called as the esteric linkage. Okay, so these are the basic differences and the comparison among all of these three polymers. Okay, now I am going to tell you the another example. There can be different names of the amino acids as well in your paper. You don't have to do anything with that names, but you should know this thing, that how to combine them with each other. Okay, for example, lysine, for example, there can be other names as well. I don't want to take those complicated names right now in front of you, but I will solve some of the past papers in which you can learn this thing, that how these are not affecting us, how these names are not affecting us. We should have an idea about their structure only. We should know this thing, that for example, examiner is writing such type of a polymer, and then he is saying that this is a compound, and this is a compound like this. Okay, then he is saying that for example, question number one is this, that will this compound undergo additional polymerization or condensational polymerization? The answer is this, condensational polymerization. Then examiner is asking why. You should have this idea very clearly, that as this compound does not have carbon carbon double covalent bond, it means that it cannot undergo additional polymerization. And which type of condensation it is going to give you? It is going to give you a condensation just like a polyamide, or you may say polypeptide. Okay, but in this case we are not talking about polyamide. Why it is so? Because it is just one compound, and it is just an amino acid. Why it is so? It is a carbon chain having amino group on one side and carboxy group on the other side. So we can say that it is undergoing combination with each other, combining with each other to give a polypeptide. Okay, so for example, H is going from this side, whereas OH is going from this side. So what we can say, this thing, that it is N and H and CH2 and C double bond O and N and H and CH2 and CH2 in this case. And again, you may say that it is C double bond O in this case, and then N and then H and then CH2 and then CH2, and then about this next, it is C a double bond O, and then the bracket is closed. Okay, so in this case we can say this is the new linkage, and this is the new linkage. So we can say that we have drawn the two repeating units. Okay, because the linkage is for two times shown over there. Okay, so it is the same. You have to draw this type of a structure, and then you have to write this N thing. This is the polymer over there, and this is the repeating unit, which I'm going to write down now. For example, this is CH2, and this is CH2 in this case, and this is C double bond O. Guys, in this case, as there is only one type of amino acid, so you are not going to write two types of the amino acids as repeating units, as we have written over there in this case. Two types of the repeating units are written over there in this case. So that's why we have to mention them very clearly. In this case, we have to write down one repeating unit only. I mean to say one amino acid as repeating unit, because this is just the one which is being repeated, and there is no doubt N over there, and there will be N water molecules produced as well. Okay, so in the next class, inshallah, we are going to discuss about the hydrolysis of proteins. Hydrolysis of proteins we are going to discuss, and you will learn this thing, that what is hydrolysis and how hydrolysis of protein is going to happen. Thank you very much. See you in the next class, inshallah.